Hello everybody and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League, Season 13, Week 2. This is another one of these last minute Season 2 casts, so likely you're not going to be seeing this till Monday. I'm sorry. This is supposed to happen actually as one of the casts we did during the second week, but Katie said she wanted to do a different game instead, so we did that. So we got G-Raff Lab taking on CHRONO, LUCILFER. CHRONO LUCILFER immediately just going after some supports here. Taking out the Marcy, that would be for Howler, and taking out the Omni Knight, which G-Raff played in week 1. G-Raff Lab taking out just 2 pause ones. You can really tell where the eyes are here.
Radiant team pick.
The undying wakes.
First pick Undying on CHRONO LUCILFER. One of the less surprising first picks so far this season.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Really hard to talk about these Undying first picks to a big degree. Aside from just, you know,
Radiant
what do you get out of an Undying? You get the same thing every game. You get the first pick Enigma! That is synonymous with bravery. But you know, as that guy who just got banned says, there is a fine line sometimes between bravery and, you know.
Dire team pick.
One of the better and perhaps lesser ran answers to Enigma is Rubik. That's not a bad choice. CHRONO LUCILFER picks up the Pudge. It's probably going to be the Inno hero. No surprise here. Honestly, if there's one thing that I think is going to start being more common as the season goes on, it's that P1 Pudge. Once people start realizing, oh no, that there's like very few games where Pudge isn't going to be good at the very least somewhere, right? Versus a band.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
I don't want to say something inflammatory like, you don't even have to land hooks to play Pudge anymore, because that sounds like him implying all you need to do is get Ags and hit Rot. Far be it from me to imply that all you really have to do to be good on Pudge right now is just get Ags and Rot, though. Oh, and hit R sometimes. You gotta do that, too. That would be a very crass allegation, and I'm not gonna make that. I'm not gonna levy allegations like that against Pudge. Notably, however, I'm also not going to deny that, though. Banning out a lot of heroes to protect it, getting rid of the Ursa, getting rid of the Bristleback, G-Raff Lab taking a look at Moon River with the Invoker ban, Invoker being another good Enigma counter. They definitely need to get rid of some of the bigger Enigma, anti-Enigma heroes. Silencer going down. That is one on the list. They do get the advantage here in that they have the first pick in the next round.
10 seconds remaining.
Which does mean that
5 seconds remaining.
they will get to pick out another hero as a deny pick if they so choose. And whether Enigma is support or carry, it doesn't really matter too much in that front.
Radiant team ban.
Yeah, and CHRONO LUCILFER just goes for another anti-Pudge hero. Really just taking the entire game on him, basically.
10 seconds remaining.
Which, I mean, isn't really surprising.
5 seconds Radiant team pick.
Here goes Leshrac, that's a bit more interesting.
Dire team pick.
And out comes the Warlock, so there definitely are some good anti-Enigma picks still left in the pool. Doom probably the most notable among them. Though you are risking the counter Doom with the Rubik being on the team. You know, I think the counter Doom means a lot less than getting rid of the black hole, to be frank. Especially considering the counter Doom can only come after the, you know, first Doom goes out. But a counter AoE Doom can be bad. That can definitely be bad. So there does have to be some mind paid.
Dire team pick.
Jakiro coming out, Jakiro. I think is a very good anti-Enigma hero. Positions himself in a way that he's very unlikely to actually end up in the black hole, and generally speaking, is
10 seconds
going to be able
remaining.
to deal with it one way or another for quite a
5
bit of the game,
seconds
especially if Enigma is a support and it's going to be longer till he gets that BKB. Pohahoro, of course, is a known Jakiro player, which means that this Undying is likely not actually going to be 5. Pasky is known for running the Pause 3 Undying, so we'll see if that's the way they go this time, or if maybe it's going to be on Shia B for Pause 4. Chrono here running quite out of time, ironic considering their name. 30 seconds for 2 picks and 2 bans. Make that 25. Make that 20. They're very confident, I think. Either they're very confident or they're very unconfident here. That's the only 2 options. Either they think that
Radiant team pick.
Beastmaster comes up. Okay, never mind. So it is going to be a 4 Undying, I guess. But as I was saying, either they're very unconfident in their lineup and are really debating on what the hell they should be doing, or they're so confident that they just believe they can just pick and ban whatever the hell they want from this point and win the game, that they've already got this
5
locked down in
seconds
draft.
remaining.
And do they? I mean, there's a better chance, actually, than not, to be honest with you. Only do they have some very good anti-Enigma heroes. You've got the Jakiro, you got the BKB Piercing Stun and the Beastmaster. They have the answers to the to that, which means that whatever Pause 1 G-Raff Slab ends up with is going to be walked all over by Pudge for at least a very long time, if not the whole game.
Dire team back.
Viper coming out. It's a bit interesting. Also kind of hard to parse exactly where he's going. The most likely option here being Rubik and Warlock are supports Enigma 3, which means either they're doing Viper 2, or they're going to run back that Viper 1 that was not very impressive in Week 1. Hopefully the former. G-Raff Slab looking at the Monkey King. Chrono LUCILFER believes this is a mid-Viper and has banned out the Wraith King. Which, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Wraith King's very good against this lineup, so I don't know if that ban was pro. I mean, even Wraith King struggles on a good day. Let's just call a spade, but this is not a good day for him. The only particularly major ability that he's just going to be able to completely ignore with their Incarnate is probably the Beastmaster ult, which is not going to be used on him anyway. There goes PA. PA definitely makes more sense here. Fan of Knives into a black
10
hole is actually a
seconds
pretty
remaining.
surprisingly nasty combination of
5
skills.
seconds remaining.
The AoE that she's inevitably going to have on her swing is also going to add to it. Pudge likes taking multiple sources of low damage a hell of a lot more than he likes taking alpha, which is to say, big instances of damage. And she can position herself in the wings of things and make it hard for Undying to use the bag of tricks on her, so not a bad ban here, I don't think. Probably not the best hero in the world in this situation, but certainly not a bad ban if you don't want to see it. And you think it's likely?
Dire team pick.
No sniper, huh? That would be kind of nasty, yeah. Especially considering how easy it would be for him to A, stay way the hell out of the
10
line of any
seconds
potential black
remaining.
hole, and B, stay even farther back than usual and just kind of go off
5
on
seconds
the
remaining.
dismembered people or the Beastmaster ulted Enigma.
Radiant team pick.
Winter Wyvern. Okay. This is very interesting. This is two heroes, two teams rather. Took me 3 attempts to say that for some reason. 2 teams where it feels like their
5
late game
seconds
capacity is not very good. At least so far. G-Raff might take this to the long term, but this is one of these interesting games to call, because outside of the fat stacks, nobody on Chrono scales. And no one on G-Raff Lab scales either. Okay, excellent. What the hell are we going to be doing this game? Pause 1 Pudge on Chrono LUCILFER. Pause 4 Undying, as mentioned earlier, in mid Wyvern. Pause 1 Viper again, which I don't know. I just don't like it that much. Maybe it'll impress me a hell of a lot more in this game than it did last time, but for some reason I'm not holding my breath. It does make this a quite hard to call game. I do think that the edge does have to go to Chrono LUCILFER, because I think Enigma has a lot of answers. Got the Beastmaster ult, got the Wyvern ult. Jakiro's W is going to be working fine until the BKB comes out. And while he's going to be almost invariably the target of every black hole, you do also have Pudge to consider if he's not in it personally. Genius. Absolute genius. Oh, they mismatched the banners here. That's kind of funny. Absolute genius, Obi, the Bulldog is. Actually, an absolute genius about half this team is. Notably, not G-Raff. G-Raff is not part of the genius line. But yeah, I don't know, I just don't really see good tidings in this game for G-Raff Lab. Like, on one hand, you know, they're definitely not going to just be rolled over early, like too early before their core comes online, because, you know, Viper's ready for action. Like, Viper's ready for action before lane phase ends, let alone afterwards. Enigma's always going to be ready to rock and roll, Underlord's always going to be ready to rock and roll, so, you know, they're not going to be losing, like, massively in early game and putting themselves at risk for, like, a super early loss, because
30 seconds.
I mean,
to battle.
I guess hypothetically they could just be picked apart by Pudge, but, you know, he's gonna need some god hooks to get that done. That's not likely. You know, basically to the point where even if you're a really good Pudge, there's going to be some luck involved type hooks. It's not likely. You can't bank on that. So that's good. But I feel like in basically every other way, Chrono Lucifer has an advantage. And the biggest one being that thanks to the fat stacks, even though nobody on Chrono Lucifer really scales, you know, the fat stacks mean they have something that looks like scaling, and can become scaling if the guy gets like super fed. But it has something that resembles scaling, which is better than any of the other guys get, which means that around 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, if G-Raff Slab doesn't have a pretty major advantage, it is not going to be looking good for them. So with that being said, let's go down the list here. As far as our roll call goes, for pause 1, for G-Raff Slab, you've got Obi, the Bulldog, currently on the Viper. Pause 2, you've got Big Boy LaCroix on the Underlord. Pause 3, you've got Copeless on the Enigma. Pause 4, you got Howler on the Rubik. Did I mention that, no, I was about to say that G-Raff, looking mid, was the captain. No, G-Raff, looking at pause 5, is actually the captain. Which is definitely not a subtle hint that I may actually secretly be recording this on the Monday I'm uploading it. That would definitely not be the case. I'm definitely not that behind. Anyway, G-Raff, pause 5 on the Warlock here. Captain of the team. Meanwhile, on Chrono Lucifer, pause 1, you got Inno on the Budge. Pause 2, you got Moon River on the Winter Wyvern. Pause 3, you've got Pasky. Pause 4 on the Beastmaster. Pause 4, you've got Shyla Beef on the Undying. And pause 5, you've got... Why did I look at mid? Pause 5, you've got Pohohoro, captain of the team, on the Jakiro, and notably, it seems like everybody has that little CL clan tag except for Moon River. Come on, Moon River, get it together. I always like to see it when everybody has those clan tags, you know? Everybody has their appropriate colors. And then I was going to take first blood off of Howler here, and then say hasta luego. Not too surprising, this is going to be a very deadly lane. I think Pudge is actually pretty uniquely qualified, actually, to lane against the Enigma. I think his E, you know, you can say a lot about the new Flesh Heap as far as a skill in its own right goes, but this damage block is actually really quite good against Enigma, who basically his entire roster of skills is very vulnerable to damage block in particular, though. Ooh, just barely knocks out the Enigma there before dying out. 2 fat stacks for Pudge at literally the beginning of the lane phase. 2 kills at 2 minutes. 2 kills in kind, but I mean, I feel like that Rubik getting 2 cleanup kills means a hell of a lot more than Pudge getting 2 fat stacks already, just to be blunt. This is gonna run right at Rubik again. Gets the hook here. Rubik's gonna turn around, give him the Fey Bolt. It's gonna at least inspire Pudge to temporarily run away. Kiro taking little trades with Rubik here. You know, it's thing I think that's worth mentioning is Pudge getting telekinesis. Shakiro with the ice path to make this next hook real easy. Pudge, that was a good tango on Pudge's part. Pohohoro is tasked with finishing the job on Howler. Dies right next to Pudge, and I thought for a second maybe he wouldn't get a fat stack off of that. Nope, he did. 3 fat stacks for Pudge at 3 minutes. In fairness, 4 minutes now. So now he's behind schedule. Still nearly 1 fat stack a minute is pretty good, I must say. Chainmail dropped here. Pretty good, I must say. So far at mid, Big Boy LaCroix is taking a pretty significant lead over the Moon River here. Warlock has shown up to blow up the Water Rune and drop a W on poor Winter Wyvern's head, who now just has to crawl back to spawn with that miserable looking low health animation. Not many low health animations in the game, but man, Winter Wyvern looks the most messed up in it. Good rotation there. Like small rotation, but even if it is an okay, Pudge is randomly gonna die here. Even if it is a small rotation, it's still an important rotation. Let's see how this goes. Okay, he's just yep, he just gets caught here with his E dead in front of a million Enigmites, and just gets shredded. She was definitely a problem he's gonna have to deal with. Ironically, this is gonna be a lane where maybe you want to be putting a lot of levels into this flash heap here, just to make absolutely sure that you're not gonna get run over. You know, lower that cooldown, make sure you're not gonna get blown up by hordes of Eidolons. Well, Pudge and Jakiro just looking to just invade jungle here, get rid of the Rubik. Ice Path comes out, Hook comes out. Great coordination. You probably want to make sure that the Hook comes at the very end of the Ice Path. So you know you're not at the very end of, but yeah, right at the end of the Ice Path, I would say. Just to make sure you can't quite move the same distance. Enigma at this point is already just so done with this lane, he's just kind of gonna sit in the trees here. The Pudge is damaging himself quite heavily. Yep, he's actually dead again.
Die.
2 kills for Enigma here. Actually, yeah, 4 kills for Enigma here. 2 kills recently. Is going to give him level 6 already. He already has a black hole. And it is funny that while the black hole is going to be answered for most of this game, I think, in great fashion, at this point, really the only hope they have is that Jakiro isn't in it. Now, if Jakiro is not in the black hole, then nothing's happening. But if Jakiro is, then the black hole is basically done for. I might have said that backwards. I'm a little tired this morning. Hook goes out on Enigma here. Almost daring him to drop the black hole, I think. But Copless knows already that's not going to work out. Jakiro just waiting in the wings to eliminate that. Very good use of Warlock's E here. Is just going to completely annihilate the Undying. But having Tombstone related issues here. Not AoE, this Warlock heal gives Viper quite a long lifespan in his fight against the Beastmaster, but it is still ultimately a doomed fight. Just cannot outpace the damage that he has with his animal and with his E. Or, well, I don't think it's a Z actually, I think it's just his passive. Big Boy LaCroix is nearly at double Moonriver's amount of last hits. Moonriver does get a brief opportunity to close the gap here, but actually misses both of those. 49 last hits, Big Boy LaCroix, 25 last hits, Moonriver, and this lane is absolutely miserable for Moonriver, and the Bitlord gaming that's going on here probably has a lot to do with that. The passive, it's one of the most, I think, underrated laning skills in the entire game, even if it is a passive. Just, it makes it so much harder for any any core to get any kind of last hits. And it goes against muscle memory. I think it's actually more devastating to people who have played their own hero more often, because lots of guys know the exact kill threshold of creeps at pretty much a given point in lane phase, right? But not many people know the kill threshold of creeps when Bitlord is involved in the equation, and even if he is, you know, there's a bit of unpredictability in the way that he's leveling up his skills. Moonriver has decided to make a rotation up, visit top lane. Beautiful Sunnyside top lane. Nothing really to be done here. Pudge was already kind of out of the action and very, very low. Gets a salve from Jakiro. Even though they just nerfed giving other people salves. Power treads come on both Viper and the the Pit Lord at the exact same time. Viper has gone all in on the Nether Toxin. Which I guess the idea here is you have like a big upheaval Nether Toxin combo. Which is great for the duration of that, but really bad for it at any other moment of the game if you're Viper. And you know, upheaval has a very long cooldown, so if it just kind of whiffs as you just saw there, then you're losing a lot of damage for quite a long time. I do suppose it is kind of specifically predatory towards Beastmaster. It's sometimes just the way he works. He's just gonna naturally kind of leave animals to be in the break juice, which does quite considerable damage when it is level 4. Moonriver looking to gank bot here, has a regen rune. I believe G-Raff's lab has spotted this out, one way or another. And they are currently residing behind their own tower. Though they did, a pull did just happen, which is going to make that a little bit more awkward. But also, ironically, give them good sight lines on the imminent attack.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Regeneration.
Yeah, both Viper and Warlock just sitting behind tower here. I gotta tell you, this is not the most ideal spot to be. It's gonna save them from any repercussions from the Widow of Vern here, who briefly gave up interest, is coming back now. Okay. Well, this is even worse than that. They cowered under tower for like 2 solid minutes, and Viper's still not gonna live this?
Dire's top tower is being denied.
Alright, Viper goes down. Big Boy LaCroix TP's in, but the only thing he gets to do is beat the hell up out of Warlock. Oh, he might get a revenge kill on the Undying here at least. Yep, Undying is ultimately going to go down. Rubik has also shown up to try and lend some supporting efforts to this. Big Boy LaCroix going to take out the Tombstone. He's in rather major danger. He just has to back now. Aski's got his Hellbear Smasher now. He's got his Tomato. You better be careful if old Tomato walks into the break gunk, he might turn into the grossest marinara sauce you've ever seen. Enigma just finished up a Wraith back there. Now looking to basically hold the line here at bot lane. You know, very casually farming. Given how unwilling G-Raff's lab seems to be to actually fight right now, that's not the worst thing in the world, alright? And Rubik very kindly helping Undying de-ward the cliff here, but unfortunately now things are not looking good for the poor dead man.
Radiant's top tower is under
He's likely gonna have to miss this next precision of defense, including this black hole. Moonriver showing up to try and put a stop to it. Is going to kill Enigma, but at the cost of his own life. Nope. Well, maybe. He's still very slow thanks to the Warlock passive. Not Warlock passive, Warlock E. They're having a hard time getting to him. They had to go so long to try and get Moonriver, but they're just going to stop and turn around for the Tombstone instead with their support gets to make it even sadder. Which means they've just wasted a hell of a lot of time. That pig pulls some powerful juju sometimes, I tell you. So ultimately, since the Moonriver lives, that's kind of more of a just stalemate rather than a bad situation for them. Which, given that G-Raff's lab used a black hole and it ended in a stalemate, that ain't exactly great. Undying is getting shredded here by the Enigmites. The Eidolons are doing a lot of damage here. Enigma's definitely wanting to go back in. But brief appearance from Inno here at the back of this line is going to put a stop to that. After many years in development, finally he's earned his 5th stack of fat. And this is pretty much exactly what you want your game experience to be like as a Pudge here. You know, it's not the I'm just gonna sit here and blindly farm while nothing is happening. He's trying to farm close to his team, and when there's like a pretty guaranteed easy kill, he comes in, he gets his fat stack. That's what he really needs anyway. All that and the Ags, but you know. The Ags will come, the fat stacks, you can't farm those. Well, I mean you can if the enemy team is bad enough, but you know what I mean.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
G-Raff's lab doing everything they can to try and save their bot T1. A lot of resources go down to for the effort. They do ultimately get the deny. Which isn't as good as saving the tower, but it's not much worse. Winner's Curse on the Enigma. Big Boy LaCroix walks in to get the last hit on the guy. And Rubik steals the Winner's Curse right back, drops it on Undying, but nobody's even kinda close to make that happen. Warlock gonna go down very casually. Some quite big fatal bonds, but not big enough to worry about, it seems. Looks like this is a very comfortable fight here for CHRONO LUCILFER. He's going back in. Oh, Big Boy LaCroix just barely dodging that one. The slow on this stupid boar is going to end Pit Lord's existence. He's going to try and, yep, successfully actually, is going to TP back to his base. G-Raff thinks about TPing into the outpost there, but sanity returns to him 1 second later, so he stops. He didn't need to do that anyway. If he wanted to go there and die, he could have just used the portal, you know? Peacemaster has decided to, I thought for a second he was going to go for a Wraith back to his own, just did not like that, but now it's just Helm of the Overlord. Going to go for the cool Helm of the Dominator. Kind of a rarely seen item. I feel like you only, especially in the LD2L tier, but even at higher tiers, it feels like for the most part you only kind of see this on like Beastmaster basically. You know, here is a little, well, I was gonna say a little cutout, but really they don't have anything to stop him, do they? Warlock has quite a dramatic slow, but no stun. And so he just gets to right-click away with nothing stopping him. And Big Boy LaCroix gets circled for his crimes. Take a look at the net worth chart here. It's probably a little bit overdue. Pit Lord is actually right on top right now. Does himself some Pit Lord gaming, though Pudge and Beastmaster are quite near behind.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Scores in general are all fairly close to each other. Outside of Viper, who is noticeably on the lower end of things. But you know, take out that outlier and there's not even 1,000 gold difference between the top and bottom net worth. And even Viper himself, despite being farther out of it, is just like, you know, 1,300. Still pretty close, so. Undying here, just sat right in front of the tower for his crimes. Rubik gets himself a soul rip, which is probably the last thing he wanted to get from Undying, realistically. Pit Lord is going to defend this T1 mid with his face. G-Raff's lab actually with a very good strategy here. If these guys want to be the early game, you know, aggressors, they want to be pushing as far up as possible, as fast as possible, then they're going to make them fight for every single inch of ground, and so far they haven't been really losing many bodies in getting that done. You know, they've been losing a lot of people, but not in these more defensive fights they're taking here. Smoke walks right into Undying. He's probably realistically not who they wanted. He is going to go down regardless. Pudge has just finished his axe. He is more than willing to just walk right out here, get it done. Black hole starts, stops within a second. It's actually all they need to get rid of the Pudge, though. Pit Lord is going to find himself very quickly killed, and so is the Enigma who instigated it. Once again, Rubik immediately steals the ult off of Winter Wyvern, and this time uses it to just get rid of the Jakiro on the back line. Pasty is still more than ready and more than willing to fight this, but he shouldn't.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Overall, that was, even if the black hole itself
Dire's middle tower
didn't really
is
go
under
to
attack.
any use in that particular fight, still definitely a good victory for G-Raff Slab in particular. The turnaround of the Winner's Curse just completely eliminated the Jakiro from the line, and the actual black hole, even if it was short, got exactly what it needed to get done, which is to say, got rid of Pudge. G-Raff down here looking to get a couple of waves just to finish up that shard, which isn't a bad idea. Warlock shard in a game like this is going to be very big.
Mine.
And it is now complete. So look forward to some AoE. Uh-oh. Alright, never mind. Pudge didn't actually want any of this. He just ran up to the staircase, dropped the ward, ran away. Getting close to his Eternal Shroud.
I thought we was friends.
And he thought that catapult was friends. I don't think he was really friends with the catapult, though. I tell you what the saddest thing in this entire game is going to be. The saddest thing is going to be if Enigma gets Pudge in a solo black hole, right? And then he just dives to the rot cloud while Pudge is spinning in it. That would be actually heartbreaking. Smoke Gank out here. They really want Pudge gone. I cannot blame them. He is a very high priority target. Rod of Atos going out here. Pudge immediately responds with a hook here. But without his passive, he's just kind of gonna melt.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But we're gonna say, I've had enough of this crap, and Winter Wyvern is going to respectfully disagree. Uses the Winner's Curse to totally break up this retreat, and both the Pit Lord and the Viper are gonna go down. Warlock gonna go down. Rubik stole the Undying ult. He's still gonna get eaten by zombies though. Well, Pudge did melt, and that was bad. They did just completely clean up the team in response. Still, it feels like missing out on literally the only, you two don't get weird. Missing out on literally the only guy who scales on this entire team though, like him not being present for that fight at all, does kind of put a small, like, damper on that victory. It's going to help the catch-up efforts of Winter Wyvern, but frankly, if you need catch-up efforts on Winter Wyvern, you're not really on the right hero anyway. You know, going to have a higher impact. Moon River is going to have a higher impact moving forward in this game, but let's just say it's not exactly like Quap getting a big turnaround, is it? Pudge has decided that the world he was living in, where he was never going to be that close to his teammates, which he kind of did dive into for a while there with his axe, he's decided he no longer wants to be a part of that world and is now going to be doing what he probably should have been doing the last couple of lives, which is just hanging around the team. This is very interesting that when he was farming up the Ags, he was kind of playing it right, where he was sticking relatively close to his team while he was farming up, trying to sneak in for some easy hooks and all that. But then once he got that Ags, he decided instead what he should be doing is going as far away from possible as from his team and getting ganked a lot. Concerted effort on the T2 bot here. The T2 bot, which by the way is already mostly dead. Vern jumps behind the lines. Black Hole goes up here. Ledger's having a really hard time trying to get around and get anything done, but everybody's totally ignoring him. And as a result, he's just going to completely annihilate the Pit Lord. Rubik also going to go down there. Enigma making a desperate run behind the lines. Frankly, with the Blink Dagger, he's really not worth going after at this point, especially given that he's way farther out than they realize. He's already done. He's already gotten his black hole. He is not a value target anymore. Not worth the time and effort. And Chrono do realize this after a second of chasing and get right back to the swing of things, which is to say, knocking stuff over. Pudge has now finished his Eternal Shroud. Which means he is taking almost no damage from any kind of magic in this game. Which is really going to be a damper for this team, who is almost all magic damage. Basically, the only physical damage they have coming out is on Eidolons and when Pit Lord gets a load of right-click damage from his passive. That's it. He's going to be caught out here, and his team went way far away. That looks like a communication issue. Pudge was still really raring to go there as far as his push was concerned, but everybody else on his team was fleeing the scene. And frankly, to be honest with you, I'm with Pudge on this one. I think that was a quite good opportunity for them to actually get some push in. You want to make every moment that the enemy doesn't have black hole count, even if, you know, right now you can't say with an honest heart that black hole is probably going to mean that much in this game. But the important fact of the matter is this: Radiant had, you know, had the Golem. That was pretty much it at the time. And Dire had all their stuff up, so why not, right? Howler going fishing with his stolen hook. We're gonna attempt what he thinks is a 1v1 with Big Boy LaCroix, and is going to find a lot of pain waiting for him. The Rubik and the Warlock, along with the Pit Lord Q, ends up just knocking Moonriver right out of the sky. Ouch. And that turnaround I was talking about, well, you can say for a fact that's kind of petered out now. Bit of a lull on the action here, as I desperately look around everyone's inventory to try and find something interesting to talk about. Well, not really. I mean, here, let's look at all the items. Pretty much everything you can see here is exactly what you'd expect. Viper is still looking rather behind compared to where he probably wants to be, and Enigma is basically done farming at this point. Has gone from the highest value core on this team to the lowest value core on his server. Moonriver once again in just as bad of a situation as a man is legally allowed to be in. Goes right down. Pudge has found Big Boy LaCroix this hook though, and just eats him once again. If they can't basically insta-kill the Pudge, feels like they have no hope in hell in these fights. He's just able to walk all over them. And then Beastmaster gets tipped. Hey, is that the stupid Undying Shard? It is. Wow, nice. I don't like that thing, to be honest with you. But Shia LaBeouf does, and that's what he's decided to go for. A Titan Sliver on Big Boy LaCroix could actually do quite a lot to turn this game around, but Obi is going to actually hold on to it, which I totally don't agree with. He should definitely just stick with the Elven. You know, it's at this point, his job is not to survive fights, it's to actually do damage in them, and the Elven Tunic is going to help that a hell of a lot more than the Titan Sliver does, even if it increases his base attack damage. Whereas Big Boy LaCroix is going to be out here wanting to actually beat people up. Speaking of which, he's going for a Lotus Orb right now. Almost said Lotus Shorb, which is not an item in this game. Lotus Orb in this game right here, which is going to be actually really helpful. There's so much on that team they do not want reflected on them, to say the least. And it's going to help Rubik to quite a large degree with his ults. You know, it is easy to say, oh, just use the Winter of Vernal to cancel the Enigma Black Hole. It's a lot harder to do when, you know, you're just going to Winter's Curse your own team if you do that, right? So, only good pickup here. Even if it doesn't really solve the Beastmaster issue very sufficiently. And Enigma's actually ignoring Black King Bar to go for Refresher Orb here, which means that he's still going to be at risk of getting knocked out by the Ice Path, which is a pretty big deal. Also, hypothetically, any Beastmaster creep he wants to try and use here. We're going to go all in on the Beastmaster here, who is going to say, sorry, nope, never mind, no apologies necessary. Beastmaster is going to get caught last second by the Rod of Atos and just eliminated. Dire's coming in for a counterattack from behind. You do not want to let this slide. Four-man smoke.
Well, there could have
And
been
whiffs the hook on Viper and immediately gets ulted for his trouble. And so much pain drops on top of Pudge's head, but he has a BKB, so he doesn't care. And that situation I mentioned earlier with Enigma dying to the rot while he's trying to Black Hole Pudge, there it is! Everybody is just dying out now on Radiant. 5 for 2. Youch. And really one of those guys was already dead before that fight, as it were, really even began, so they just lost a 5v4 as a 5 in very dramatic fashion. Which, I don't know, that seems to me, like I said at the top of the game, it's eventually going to get to the point where Pudge is going to be unkillable, and now we're at that point. This BKB he picked up is going to completely eliminate Viper as a source of any kind of damage. Enigma has decided, maybe I need this BKB after all, and he's right. If he wants that to not happen to him, if he wants to not get melted by the rod as he fails to do any damage to Pudge with his own black hole, that'd be the way to go about it.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
You can really tell how cool the new Pudge is by the fact that Inno has declined to pick a single trait revolving around the hook. Lots of damage coming out on Pudge here. He was just going to hook out BKB, try to turn it around. But with nobody here for his team, you know, all he can do is just kind of walk away. But then, he did walk away. It says JK, JK in chat.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
disassembly required. Bounty.
Well, Rubik probably didn't want to get wild axes from that. Gets dive bombed and really hammered by an ancient dragon here. Very nearly goes down.
Practice makes perfect.
Moon River says hook this guy. Pudge says okay. Immediately does so. And the man who was formerly the big imposing issue on this team is now just kind of gone. Howler is going to bravely walk out in front of everybody, but as said in the start of the game, There's a fine line between bravery and, yeah, you know. And of course, Howler has unfortunately crossed it there and just goes right down.
The effort counts.
G-Raff stood completely still. Pudge said, no, I want Enigma instead. Enigma just blinks. He deserved neither, he'll lose both. He's actually going to miss a long succession of hooks here. Which really, again, just goes to show how important the main gimmick of Pudge here is. You know? You're just going to sit in this midnight pool, literally just taking a bath in it. And in fairness, he did just lose about half of his HP in doing so, so maybe that was not the best possible play. Another blind hook, doesn't go anywhere.
You almost had it.
Rubik gets a hook of his own. And he tries to use it to save the Enigma, though it does not work out. One of his buddies floats right into his path, which is going to happen to you sometimes as Rubik. People are not ready to get out of the damn way. 2 kills on Pudge's part. Nothing more to be done here, though, so they just walk away. And we'll also buy him back.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And after a very, very long uphill, Pudge decides, never mind, and just leaves. Invisibility rune here top. Undying is going to try and solo Roche. To say the least, so far it's not exactly going great. Radiant do successfully scan it out as Zeno starts to run over there. And buys an entire K and Y. Or rather S and K actually. Big black hole here, 3 in the pit. Oh, Winter's Curse. Get rid of that. Moon River took the Aegis and immediately reincarnated. But it seems to me like a black hole cannot be allowed to go on that long if CHRONO LUCILFER wants to actually win a fight. That seems to me like a classic example of, forgot that guy could do that. I don't know. It's been so long since the black hole actually came out. I guess when it actually did, and it was really good, it was just unexpected. It was a very good black hole. Positioned well in that the only person who could actually stop it was just a little too far away. Or not really thinking about that. I couldn't really tell which. I'm going to say, just to be nice to Moon River, he was out of cast range rather than he just kind of waited for like 5 seconds to stop it because he wanted this game to go on longer or something. G-Raff's lab doing exactly what they should do in this situation, trying to take control over as much of the territory as they possibly can while everybody was dead. Though I do gotta say, it is very immediately noticeable that there was a pretty extreme lack of vision that went up on the other side. It seems like, despite taking out that territory, they really were not able to get the wards up, which is interesting because the Warlock's holding on to him. He also just accidentally saw Pudge become uninvised. I'm not really sure why he was. I don't think there was a smoke out there. There was, it was solo, and I didn't notice it. I would have been as blind as the enemy team, who was immediately going back into turtle formation. Everybody, the second punches on this half of the map, just getting right back behind T3s.
Regeneration.
I had to check their jungle there for a bit because I wanted to see exactly where their sentries were. I was thinking maybe they at least blocked the ancient camp or something, but no, they didn't actually even do that. Rubik gets himself another hook and finds Winter of Vern. He was just immediately going to have to drop a desperation ult, which absolutely does not help. Still just goes down immediately. But tries to dismember the Viper. Nothing happens, and now he's in the black hole. But, I mean, it just doesn't matter at all. Even with, like, the best imaginable setup there, you just can't kill Pudge anymore. You just cannot do it. That's a good Hurricane Pike, so I guess they can't kill Pudge after all. Big Boy LaCroix accidentally uses Rod of Atos on an Ancient and hopes nobody sees it. That's okay, Big Boy. I'll make sure not to mention that on the cast. Once again, G-Raff, once again, G-Raff is able to repulse everybody from the enemy base, partially because it just started out with such a good go on this particular person. Kind of ironic, isn't it? It was... I mean, to be honest there, I think the actual real solution to what just happened was that instead of Pudge trying to go in, probably should have just hooked Wyvern right back out, which is an option. You're allowed to do that, you know? You know, just because Rubik has the hook, it does not disallow yours. But then, Inno did not pick this hero to land hook, so you know how it goes. Hyper also has a Rod of Atos here. We're gonna get 2 Gleipnirs on this team, that's always fantastically redundant. As I said before, I think Rod of Atos is less core on Underlord than a lot of people believe, but on a team where you have, you know, you have Telekinesis, which is a really crappy little stun, you have the Enigma Q, which is not the best in the world, and you have the Warlock stun, which is not long and up once in a century, then yeah, you sure as hell need Rod of Atos in this game. This is absolutely the kind of situation you want that in. Warlord has just finished his BKB up here. He's going to have that to look forward to in the next couple of fights. He's going to really strongly help against Pudge, for at least that 9 seconds. He's definitely going to have to make a lot of use out of it. I think if the Pit Lord BKB hits 6 and the Viper BKB hits 6 seconds, then it's going to start getting really impossible to do anything again. Pudge found a Trickster's Cloak just to be even more annoying. Immediately slaps that on. Get that magic resist, gets that evasion going. Just to stack on top of his already pretty crazy magic resist from Eternal Shroud. No. The stolen boar. I'm glad Rubik got... I'm glad Rubik got the stupid boar. Of all the things to get from Beastmaster, you get that. And they're just kind of all dying very
Dire's
quickly.
top tower is under attack.
They are very confident. They know they don't really have much to lose at this point. It's definitely not an impossible game for Radiant, but at this point it is just so unlikely. It feels like that time is going to really help them to any significant degree. Beastmaster has now finished his own Wraith Pact.
An icy chill.
He really was going for it. Oh, Gleason are actually missing the Beastmaster there. Not that it really matters. DBKB's way too late. But he's gonna actually live, so that's good. Viper immediately forced to BKB there by the Winter Wyvern, who Winter's curses himself. Very sad. BKB's coming up all over the goddamn place. Viper's gonna go down here, maybe? Good, tricky positioning on Viper's part, but just not enough to actually get anything significant done. Warlock takes a casual
Radiant's
fall.
top tower is under attack.
Enigma takes a casual fall. Pudge at this point is just willingly eating T4 tower shots. The Havoc Hammer. Yeah, it's not going to be enough.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Pudge sitting on 26 fat stacks, sitting on 5,495 health.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant
Got
structures
2,000
are
more than
fortified.
the Pit Lord.
Dire structures are
Nearly
fortified.
3,000 more than Viper.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is
And the
under
reality
attack.
is, in an actual, like,
Radiant structures
sustained
are
fight, at
fortified.
least one that makes sense for him to take, which he's not necessarily taking here. He's just rolling over everyone because that's just what this hero does right now.
Radiant's top barracks
In a
is
fight
fallen.
where his team is actually there for him and he's not just one man sitting in the middle of all 5 people and winning the fight,
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
you know, he has the Undying heal on him as well, the Soul Rip, which does not help matters.
Radiant's middle
Pit Lord is
barracks
bought back,
fallen.
but all it's going to be is a protest buyback unless he wants to get himself killed. Pudge rolls a 7-10 split, goes right down the middle. It's okay, as mentioned before, it's not why he chose this hero. Enigma just gets completely shattered by Winter's Curse. Pit Lord going down to the Scream. G-Raff calls the G's, and we're getting out of here.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's ancient is under attack. Dire victory.
So, what's the skinny on this game? This is very simple. If you ban out the other Inno heroes and you let the Pudge through against this team, pick a counter pick to Pudge in the first phase because you know absolutely without a doubt that he's going to be there. 100% you're going to be seeing him. And just to be honest, just to be blunt, I don't think you beat Pudge without a counter pick right now. You can itemize around him all you want, but I think if you don't have a specific counter pick to Pudge, he's just usually going to win, unless he just either really drops the ball or his team really drops the ball. It's pretty much the two options he got here. Moonriver bravely fought from behind. Did manage to actually turn around and have something of a performance there, which is definitely good. But I think really, just first and foremost, you know, just get rid of the goddamn Pudge. Honestly, maybe let one of the other heroes through. Pudge just seems pretty good right now, but I mean, if you don't, just pick Necro in the first phase, just pick, you know, somebody like that, as early as humanly possible. And either rush BKBs, or just swallow your pride, build the damn pipe. That's really your options. That's the only analysis you can possibly do. I don't think the G-Raff lab comp is great. I think the Puzzle and Viper experiment needs to be retired, and has been since then. I don't think they've run it since this particular game, but the Puzzle and Viper experiment was an unqualified failure. That's pretty much as far as it goes, but I mean, really, it's just about Pudge. Just get rid of him. Just don't want to face him. See what happens, see if they can learn from that particular mistake next time.